Hey, my name is Noah. I'm 26. 3 months ago, I came back to fix up my dead mother's cottage, and the first person I saw was Elena, my old babysitter, now 45, married, standing on her porch with this laugh that knew all my secrets. She looked at me and said, "You promised to marry me when you were little." I could smell her lemon hand cream mixed with the salt air, and before I could stop myself, I said, "Then stop calling me kid. Ask me again when you're free." The way she stepped back, like I'd just lit a match in a room full of gasoline. For the next 2 months, we danced around something that could have destroyed her marriage, my reputation, and every careful boundary we'd built. If you're watching this right now, tell me where you're from in the comments, because I still don't know if what we did was wrong. I could smell the salt in the air before I even got out of my truck. 3 years since I'd been back to this street. 3 years since Mom's funeral. The cottage looked smaller than I remembered, paint peeling on the shutters, garden overgrown. But it was mine now, and I needed to fix it up fast or lose it to property taxes. I was fumbling with the keys when I heard her laugh. "Noah, oh my God, you're so big now." I turned around, and there she was, Elena, still beautiful, but different. 45 looked good on her, laugh lines around her green eyes, silver threading through her dark hair. She was wearing this soft linen scarf that caught the afternoon breeze. "I can't believe it's really you," she said, walking up to the hedge between our properties. "Do you remember? You promised to marry me when you were little." The memory hit me like a wave. I was maybe 6, sitting at her piano, pressing random keys while she tried to teach me scales. I declared, with all the seriousness a 6-year-old could muster, that I was going to marry her when I grew up. She'd laughed and said she'd have to wait and see. But standing there now, looking at her, something hot and stupid came out of my mouth. "Then stop calling me kid," I said. "Ask me again when you're free." The words hung in the air between us. Her face flushed pink, and she took a step back like I'd slapped her. I immediately wanted to take it back, but it was too late. I I brought you some lemon bars," she stammered, holding out a plate I hadn't even noticed. "Welcome home, Noah." She practically ran back to her house. I stood there feeling like an idiot, watching her disappear through her front door. What the hell was wrong with me? Inside Mom's cottage, everything smelled like dust and old lavender. I found one of her recipe cards on the kitchen counter, her handwriting in blue ink, measurements for lemon bars, the same ones Elena had just brought me. I decided to start work at sunrise. Keep busy, keep my mouth shut. The cedar sawdust smelled exactly like Dad's old workshop. I was stripping wallpaper in what used to be Mom's sewing room when Leo showed up with his truck full of tools. "This place needs more than cosmetic work," he said, running his hand along a water-stained windowsill. "You sure about the timeline?" "6 weeks," I told him. "That's what I've got." Leo shook his head but didn't argue. We'd been working construction together since high school. He knew when I was desperate. Around 10, Elena appeared at the garden gate with a manila envelope. She looked different in daylight, composed, like she'd rebuilt her walls overnight. "HOA paint guidelines," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "The board is particular about exterior colors." Mrs. Cranston from 2 houses down was suddenly very interested in her morning walk, slowing down as she passed the gate. Elena noticed and stiffened. "Just passing through the approved colors," Mrs. Cranston called out. "Such a lovely morning for property improvements." The woman had binoculars hanging around her neck. Binoculars. At 9 in the morning. After she finally moved on, Elena relaxed slightly. She was looking at the trash bag I'd dragged to the curb, and her face went pale. "Is that—" "Noah, wait." She dug through the bag and pulled out Mom's recipe card, the one I'd thrown away without thinking. "You can't throw this out," she said. brushing dust off the paper. Your mother's handwriting. I'm not much of a baker, I said. She taught me this recipe. We made these together every Christmas. Elena held the card like it was made of glass. Here, keep it. Our fingers brushed when she handed it back, just for a second, but I felt it in my chest. Do you still play piano? I asked. Sometimes, when Daniel's at the hospital, when the house gets too quiet. She said it without thinking, then looked like she wished she hadn't. That evening, I was reading through Mom's papers when I heard it through the wall. Piano scales, soft and careful, the same ones she'd tried to teach me 20 years ago. I found myself humming along. The small wooden box was in Mom's kitchen drawer, behind old rubber bands and dried out pens. The label said promises in her neat handwriting. Inside was a plastic ring from a cereal box and a piece of paper with crayon writing. For Elena, when I get big. Noah, age 6. I was staring at it when Elena knocked on the front door. She had more HOA forms, something about paint samples needing approval. What's that? She asked, seeing the box in my hands. I showed her. Her face went soft, and she touched the edge of the paper. I remember this day, she said quietly. You were so serious about it. Your mom thought it was the sweetest thing. You kept it? Abby asked me to. She said to hold on to it until you got big. Elena smiled, but there was something sad in it. I guess you're big now. We both started laughing, but it felt fragile, like we were standing on ice. Footsteps on the front porch. Mrs. Cranston's face appeared in the screen door window. Just checking that everything's all right, she said. Heard voices. Elena stepped back from me, creating distance. Just reviewing permits, Mrs. Cranston. All very official. After the older woman left, Elena gathered up her papers quickly. I should go, she said. Daniel will be home soon. That night, I was washing paintbrushes when I happened to look out the kitchen window. Elena's porch light flickered twice, then went steady. Probably just old wiring, but I watched it for a long time. Sea glass, Elena said, pointing to a paint chip. It'll pass HOA approval, and it's close to what your mother had before. We were standing in my front yard, going through color samples. The afternoon breeze kept lifting her linen scarf, and I could smell her perfume, something light and clean. Our fingers touched, reaching for the same chip, and we both pulled back like we'd been burned. That one's good, I said, not looking at her. Mrs. Cranston materialized from nowhere, like she'd been waiting in the bushes. Elena, dear, she said, I hope you're not spending too much time on neighborhood consultations. People talk, you know. I'm the HOA liaison for renovations, Elena replied, her voice tight. This is part of my job. Of course, just Daniel's been so generous to our community fund. We wouldn't want any misunderstandings. The threat was polite and clear. Elena's face went pale. Mrs. Cranston, I said, stepping forward, Elena's been nothing but professional. If you have a problem with HOA procedures, maybe take it up with the board. The older woman's eyes narrowed. Of course, just looking out for everyone's best interests. After she left, Elena was quiet. I should go, she finally said. This was a mistake. That night, I stood at my kitchen sink, replaying the moment our hands touched. Through the wall, I could hear the soft click of a metronome. Elena, practicing piano. The sound stopped suddenly, like she'd realized I might be listening. The HOA email was waiting in my inbox the next morning. Community benefit concert. Volunteers needed. Elena was listed as event chair. They needed someone to build stage risers. I knocked on her door that afternoon, trying to look professional. I saw the email about carpentry work, I said when she answered. I can build your risers. Contractor discount. She considered this, clearly weighing her options. The community hall has terrible acoustics, she said finally. Would you Could you help me test them first? The hall was empty except for an old upright piano and rows of folding chairs. Elena sat down and played something soft and familiar, a melody I remembered Mom humming. She loved this song, I said without thinking. I know. Abby requested it every time I played for her. Elena's fingers moved gently over the keys. Do you still sing? Not really. Try. Just hum along. I did. My voice was deeper now, rougher, but it found the harmony, like it remembered. For a moment, it almost became a duet. Elena stopped playing abruptly. That's that's probably enough, she said, closing the piano lid. The risers need to be regulation height, 36 inches. That night, I found myself humming that melody while I sketched out riser plans. Across the lane, Elena's porch light stayed steady. No flickering. 2 days later, I had the sketches ready. Elena answered her door in a yellow sundress, her hair pulled back. She smelled like lemon hand cream. Let me show you what I'm thinking, I said, spreading the papers on her kitchen table. We leaned over the drawings together, close enough that I could see the gold flecks in her green eyes. Cedar dust from my work clothes mixed with her clean scent. This support beam goes here? She asked, pointing. Right there. Her finger traced the line I'd drawn. Such a small thing, but my heart was hammering. A car door slammed in the driveway. Shit, Elena whispered. Daniel's early. Side gate, go. I grabbed the papers and slipped out through her garden. From the alley, I heard Daniel's voice through the kitchen window. Who was that leaving? The contractor. HOA business. In our kitchen? The table has the best light for looking at plans. His voice was polite, controlled. Of course. How's the concert planning coming? I walked home with paint still on my knuckles, feeling guilty about something that hadn't even happened. That night, I texted Leo. Need to finish these risers fast. His reply came back immediately. Or, finish your heart. Mrs. Cranston was taking pictures during the hall walkthrough, not even trying to hide it. Just documenting the improvements, she said, snapping photos while Elena maintained careful distance from me. For the newsletter, Elena called me Mr. Hale through the entire inspection. The formality hurt more than it should have. I've been getting reports, Mrs. Cranston said to no one in particular, about inappropriate familiarity between board members and contractors. Daniel Whitmore has been so generous to our community fund. We wouldn't want any appearance of impropriety. Elena went white. I bit back what I really wanted to say. All future communications will be by email, Elena said quietly. Strictly professional. Mrs. Cranston smiled. Wonderful. I'm sure Daniel will be pleased to hear the board is maintaining appropriate boundaries. That evening, I heard Elena's metronome start up, then stop mid-click. The silence felt heavier than the sound had. I was fixing a loose step on Elena's porch when her phone rang inside. She answered in that careful voice people use when they're being watched. Yes, Daniel. The risers are coming along fine. No, I haven't needed to. Of course, appearance matters. Her voice faded as she moved to another room, but I caught the word appearance twice more through the closed door. I finished the repair and left the invoice in her mailbox. Walking back to my own porch, I found an envelope tucked under my door. Inside was the plastic ring and one of Mom's note cards. In Mom's handwriting, for safekeeping, not forever. A. The line hit me like a punch to the chest. Even from the grave, Mom was looking out for both of us. That night, Elena's porch light flickered twice, then twice again. I stood at my window, but I didn't respond. I brought the trim sample to Elena's front steps the next morning, rang the bell once, then stepped back 3 paces. Professional distance. She opened the door but didn't cross the threshold. Sea glass with white trim, I said, holding up the sample. Should pass inspection. Thank you. Her voice was careful, measured. When will you start? Tomorrow? Leo's bringing the primer. We talked about schedules and lumber delivery like we were reading from a script, but I could see the exhaustion in her face. You sleeping okay? I asked before I could stop myself. No, she said simply. You? No. The honesty hung between us. Mrs. Cranston walked by with her little dog, slowing down when she saw us talking. Elena noticed and straightened. I should let you get back to work, Elena said. Yeah, me too. But neither of us moved for a long moment. You've got a good ear, Elena said that afternoon during sound check. I was adjusting the risers while she ran scales on the old piano. Mom always said that. Never believed her. Try this. She played a simple melody, nodding for me to hum along. My voice found the harmony without thinking. Elena smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from her in days. If the scheduled singer cancels, she said quietly, could you do a simple duet with me? Nothing fancy, just backup vocals. I'm not much of a performer. Neither am I, really. But we sound good together. The words meant more than they should have. We both knew it. Okay, I said, if you need me. That night, chamomile steam curled from Elena's kitchen window while she practiced the melody alone. The metronome clicked steadily through the wall. I found myself humming along in my own kitchen, separated by just a few inches of drywall. Elena brought me coffee and muffins the next morning while I installed safety rails on the risers. She stood a careful 10 feet away. Thank you for this, she said, for helping with the concert. It's just carpentry. No, it's not. She was quiet for a moment. Daniel and we tried for a baby. For years. The house has too many empty rooms now. I set down my drill. This wasn't small talk. Some rooms stay too quiet, she continued. Your mother used to say I helped keep you gentle. But really? She kept me gentle, reminded me what tenderness looked like. You did help, I said. All those piano lessons, the way you never talked down to me. Mom was right. Elena's eyes were bright with unshed tears. She kept us both gentle, didn't she? A evening breeze moved through both our houses at the same time. We both turned to look, and our kitchen windows closed in perfect synchrony, like the houses were breathing together. Mrs. Cranston got her photo the next day. I was consulting with Elena about chair arrangements through her half-open front door, keeping distance, being careful, but in the reflection of the window glass, our silhouettes looked closer than we really were. The camera click was loud enough that I heard it from inside. Elena didn't notice, but that night at 2:07 a.m., my phone buzzed with a calendar notification I'd forgotten I'd set. When I cleared it, I saw I had a new email forwarded from an anonymous address. The subject line was just, "Thought Daniel should know." The attachment was the photo. Please don't come by, Elena said when I arrived the next morning. Not this week. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her hands were shaking slightly. Did something happen? Daniel got an email, a photo of us talking. It looked like something it wasn't. What did you tell him? The truth, that you're the contractor for the concert, that we've been careful. She wrapped her arms around herself. But he's watching now. We can't. I understand. I'm sorry, Noah. This isn't fair to you. Don't apologize. Just take care of yourself. I left without arguing. Across the lane, the metronome started up, then stopped abruptly. Even Elena's music had become careful. For 3 days, I communicated with Elena only by email. Project updates, delivery confirmations, one-line responses that said nothing and everything. I routed all materials through the community hall, avoided walking past her house. Mrs. Cranston was always somewhere nearby, watching with satisfaction. Evenings, I sat with the plastic ring and mom's note, reading that line over and over, for safekeeping, not forever. I started practicing the duet alone in the empty hall after work. My voice echoed off the walls, lonely and too loud, but I kept at it because Elena might need me. Her porch light stayed steady every night. No more flickering. Concert day arrived with the smell of flowers and floor wax. Elena entered with a group of volunteers, her eyes focused on clipboards and schedules. She didn't look toward the stage where Leo and I were making final adjustments. Daniel appeared around noon, shaking hands and praising the carpentry. He looked right through me like I was just another piece of equipment. "Beautiful work," he told Elena. "You've really pulled this together." "Thank you," she said. "The community response has been wonderful." They looked like what they were supposed to be, a successful couple, pillars of the community. But I noticed Elena never quite relaxed, even when he put his arm around her shoulders. Backstage, she warmed up with a metronome app on her phone. I tested microphones from across the room, giving her space. Tantu. The So concert began at 7. Elena played the opening piece, something classical and safe, but halfway through she glanced toward the wings where I was standing, and her fingers clipped a note. Whispers rippled through the audience. Daniel's jaw tightened. At intermission, the coordinator found me in a panic. "The singer's not coming," she said. "Food poisoning. Elena said you know the closing song?" Elena was already at the piano when I walked on stage. She nodded once, professional and distant. We started simple, her melody, my harmony, the song Mom used to hum while she cooked. For 2 minutes, we were perfect. Our voices found each other like they'd been waiting 20 years to fit together. But on the last note, something happened. A breath caught between us, a moment of recognition that the whole room felt, even if they couldn't name it. The applause was enthusiastic. Daniel clapped first, loudest. Elena stood and took a small bow, but she didn't meet my eyes. After the concert, I stayed to break down the risers while everyone else celebrated in the lobby. The folding chairs squealed against the wooden floor as volunteers stacked them in neat rows. Daniel worked the room like the politician he'd never quite become, thanking donors and shaking hands. Mrs. Cranston was already dictating notes into her phone for next week's newsletter. Elena found me in the storage room. "Thank you," she said formally, "for everything. The risers, the song, all of it. Just doing my job. No, you saved the evening. I won't forget that." Leo appeared in the doorway, keys jingling. "Ready for some real food? That reception cheese was fancy but useless." "You go ahead," I told him. "I'll finish up here." After they left, I sat alone in the empty hall, listening to the building settle. Through the windows, I could see the ocean beyond the parking lot, dark and constant. I drove home with the windows down, salt air washing through the cab. Elena's house was dark when I pulled into my driveway, either asleep or pretending to be. I showered and sat at Mom's kitchen table with her stack of letters. The one on top was addressed to Elena, never sent. Mom's handwriting was shakier here. This was near the end. "Thank you for being the person who shows up for my boy. He's going to need that someday, when I'm not here to remind him how to be gentle." I read it 3 times before the tears came. Clean and embarrassing, but necessary. I fell asleep at the table, my head on my arms like a kid. My phone buzzed at 2:07 a.m. Not a call or text, just a calendar notification for something I'd apparently set months ago. As I cleared it, I noticed Elena's porch light through the kitchen window. 2 flickers, a pause, then a third. That was the old signal Mom and Elena had used when I was little. 2 flickers meant checking in. 3 meant need to talk. I got dressed and walked outside, but only to the middle of the sidewalk. Elena appeared in her doorway a moment later, stepping to her own midpoint. The street between us felt like an ocean. "Are you okay?" I asked quietly. I told Daniel I need space to figure some things out. Her voice carried in the still air. Not about you specifically, just about who I am when no one's watching. What did he say? That he'll give me time, that he loves me. She pulled her robe tighter. He's not a bad man, Noah. Just careful. Everything has to look right. And what do you need it to look like? I don't know yet. But I know I can't keep pretending that concert didn't happen. That we don't, that there isn't something here. We stood there in the pre-dawn quiet, not crossing toward each other. I won't ask you to leave anyone, I said finally. But I need you to know, whatever you decide, I'll be the person you can tell the truth to. Elena reached into her robe pocket and pulled out the plastic ring. For safekeeping, she said, walking to the center line of the street. Not pressure. I met her there and she pressed the ring into my palm. Her hands were warm. The porch light, she said. 2 flickers means I'm okay. 3 means I need to know you're there. That's all. Nothing that crosses any lines. Okay. An email only. About anything practical. Okay. She stepped back first. Thank you. For understanding. Leo helped me load the last riser into his truck the next morning. Mrs. Cranston watched from her window, probably disappointed that nothing scandal-worthy was happening. You look different, Leo said. Lighter, maybe. Feel different too. On my porch, I hung Mom's recipe card in a small frame, the one Elena had rescued from the trash. Across the lane, Elena was watering her garden. Our eyes met once. She smiled softly and looked away. Normal, neighborly, nothing for anyone to photograph. How's it going with the cottage? Leo asked. Good. I think I'll keep it. Rent it out short term. Keep Mom's room for when I visit. Visit? You thinking of staying in town? I looked across at Elena's house, where she was deadheading roses with careful concentration. Maybe. Still deciding. Over the next few days, I sent Elena a final invoice by email, copying Daniel like she'd asked. She replied within an hour. Paid. Thank you for excellent work. Professional, transparent, safe. I put the plastic ring in Mom's jewelry box and closed the lid. Not hiding it, just keeping it safe like she'd asked. That Saturday morning, I was drinking coffee on my porch when Elena stepped onto hers with her own mug. We both stood there for a moment, 40 feet apart, just being present in the same space. I opened my window, our agreed signal that I was there if she needed anything. She didn't flicker the porch light, just nodded once with soft eyes. This wasn't a romance resolved, it was a boundary honored, and somehow, that felt more honest than any ending I could have written. My phone buzzed. Leo asking if I wanted to hit the beach later. I looked across at Elena, who was reading something in the morning light, her linen scarf moving gently in the breeze. Another time, I texted back. The metronome started up through the wall. Elena, practicing piano. The sound was steady, peaceful, no longer something she was hiding. I closed my eyes and listened, remembering Mom's voice humming that same melody years ago. Some promises weren't about rings or vows or dramatic gestures. They were about being the person who showed up when the light flickered, who listened through walls, who kept the gentle parts of someone safe, even from a distance. Elena's porch light glowed steady in the afternoon sun. No signals needed right now, just the quiet comfort of knowing someone was there. Someone who understood that some doors were meant to stay cracked open. That was enough. For now, it was enough.